Okay, so get this. Picture a farmer, maybe in rural Kenya, trying to get funding, for the next harvest.
Mm.
But traditional investors, they get hesitant, right?
Yeah.
Too risky.
Yeah.
But what if there was this way to like directly connect that farmer with investors, but like globally, and use blockchain to do it?
Yeah.
That is the big idea behind this Taraxa catalyst thing.
Yeah, it's really
It's
interesting.
what we're diving into today.
It is, yeah. It's a fascinating proposal. They're exploring how this blockchain tech, how it could change, like revolutionize agricultural investment,
Yeah.
particularly in developing countries, across Africa, really.
We've got research papers, we've got economic analyses, even interviews with potential investors. It's like a whole stack of information on this thing they call tokenized farmland.
Right.
Honestly, kind of sounds like something straight out of like a sci-fi novel.
Yeah, it does a little bit, doesn't it?
Help me break this down, though. What does it even mean?
Okay, so it's actually more straightforward than the name makes it sound. Picture a real farm, right? Okay.
Rows of crops, maybe some livestock. Got that.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine, instead of like one owner, it's divided into digital shares. These are represented by these tokens on a blockchain.
Okay.
When you buy a token, you're essentially buying a little piece of that farm. Fractional ownership.
So instead of needing, like, a ton of money to buy an entire farm,
Right.
anyone could, in theory, own a little piece of it through these tokens.
Exactly. That's the idea. It lowers the barrier for entry,
Okay.
making it possible for people to get involved in these projects that, maybe they couldn't have before.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm already seeing, like, a potential issue, though.
Uh-oh, what's that?
Let's say I buy a token, right? What's
Yeah.
stopping someone from just, I don't know, turning around and selling that same piece of land to someone else?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
That's where the whole blockchain thing comes in, right?
You got it. That is the key here. One of the most important things about this technology is its, like, immutability. Every single transaction.
Every change of ownership.
Hmm.
Permanently on the blockchain.
Gotcha.
Think of it as this digital ledger. Okay, everyone can see it, can't be messed with.
Right.
That transparency is key here, especially in places where land ownership records, well, they might not be so reliable.
So if I buy a token that represents, let's just say, a tiny piece of farmland, maybe in Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
I can be sure that I actually own it.
Yeah.
Because it's all on this, like, secure blockchain.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Not just that either. Every decision, every financial transaction, anything related to that farm
Yeah.
is recorded, verifiable, reduces the risk of fraud, mismanagement, and all those shady dealings you hear about.
Right, exactly. Okay, so now this is where it gets really interesting for me.
Okay.
Because we're not just talking about, like, opening up investment to more people.
Mhm.
We're talking about potentially making a system that's way more secure, more transparent, more accountable.
Yes.
No more wondering where your money's going. You can literally track it.
Exactly. And, this doesn't just benefit the investors either.
That's true.
Think about the impact on the local farmers themselves.
Right.
They often been kind of, at the mercy of these systems that aren't transparent at all, right?
Yeah, for sure.
With blockchain, they have this clear record, land ownership, any transaction, even, how much they're harvesting.
Mm-hmm.
They can use that to try to get better loans, negotiate prices that are actually fair, and ultimately just have more control over their own livelihoods, which is huge.
This is really giving a much better picture of how this could help farmers, not just, the people putting money in.
Right.
But let's talk about, actually making this happen. This all sounds amazing, like, in theory.
Mm-hmm.
But we're talking about real farms with
Wow.
real problems.
I'm thinking like infrastructure, right?
Yeah.
Do these places even have what they need to support this kind of technology? That's a really important point. And it is one that the Taraxa Catalyst proposal, they actually talk about it directly.
Okay.
So yeah, a lot of areas have gotten way better infrastructure-wise,
Mm-hmm.
but access to reliable electricity,
Right.
the internet,
Mhm.
even just like roads and transportation.
Yeah.
It's still not the same everywhere across Africa.
And I imagine that could really impact, how profitable these farms are.
It absolutely does. If a
Yeah.
farm can't get what it's producing to a market,
Yeah.
or they don't have, electricity to run irrigation,
Right.
their yields are going to suffer.
Yeah.
And in the end, profits suffer.
Makes sense.
The proposal really stresses that we need to put money into these areas,
Mm-hmm.
like right alongside trying to expand agriculture.
So it's not just about, like you said, dropping in this fancy system.
Right, exactly.
It's about understanding like what's already there and making sure it'll actually work.
It's about taking this bigger view of development, right?
Yeah.
Recognizing that technology, it's just one piece.
Right, right.
Another piece, of course, is the environment. We can't talk about agriculture in Africa or anywhere, really, without talking about climate change.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, from what I've read, it's a huge threat,
It is.
especially in those areas that are already seeing like unpredictable weather.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Sub-Saharan Africa, that's a major concern.
Yeah.
The proposal really emphasizes sustainable farming, drought-resistant crops, strategies to deal with those climate impacts.
So would this model then push for moving away from those cash crops towards more of these climate resilient ones? Or is it more about like doing both?
It's probably going to have to be a mix, right? There's definitely potential to focus on the crops that everyone wants, that are already selling well.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we have to explore those more sustainable options, invest in them.
Right.
Imagine, like, you could invest in a farm, but they're pioneering new types of coffee, maybe, that can handle drought.
Right, right.
Or using really advanced water techniques.
No, that's what I'm talking about. That's putting your money where your mouth is. But let's not forget about the people. We keep talking about helping farmers, helping investors. What about the communities where these farms actually are?
Yeah.
How do we make sure that they actually benefit from all this and it doesn't just become, another way to take advantage of them?
It's a huge question.
Yeah.
And it's one we really have to think carefully about. The proposal suggests, like, a true collaborative approach.
Yeah, okay.
Get the local communities involved in those decisions right from the beginning.
So we're saying instead of like these investors coming in and calling all the shots.
Right.
The idea is to have a system where everyone's more equal and the locals, those communities, they have a say.
Yes, exactly. And a real stake in it, too. It could be something as simple as, like, when they buy land, they make sure to buy it from the local farmers.
Okay.
At a price that's actually fair,
Yeah.
rather than these big companies just coming in and...
Right. Just taking it.
Exactly. Pushing people out. It could also involve, sharing the profits.
Okay, yeah, I was going to ask about that.
So, like, a percentage of what the farm makes actually goes right back to the community.
Got it.
Building schools,
Yeah.
improving their health care, stuff like that.
That's such a different story than you usually hear. It's usually all about like these big land grabs, right?
Yeah.
Exploitation, companies taking what they can and giving nothing back.
Exactly. This is trying to be the opposite of that. A model where, like, everybody wins. Everyone moves forward. And this is where that whole DAO thing comes out.
Oh, right. Yeah, we touched on that earlier. But I think it's worth getting into a little more. It's a pretty key part of this whole proposal.
Absolutely, yeah.
So remind me again, how would a DAO even work with all this?
Okay, so picture, like, this digital co-op, right, where everyone with tokens, even the local communities, they get a vote.
Okay.
They decide how the whole project's run,
Wow.
what to grow, how to split up the profits, even down to which sustainability practices to focus on.
So it's like truly democratic.
Basically, it gives everyone a voice, not just about the money, but like every decision.
That's huge in terms of making things more fair, right?
It could be a total game changer. But, we got to be real. This is still just a proposal. There are going to be roadblocks, regulations to figure out, tech stuff to put in place.
And you have to get people on board, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Not just the investors and the tech people, but the farmers themselves, the people in these communities. They got to trust it.
It's all about building that trust, getting everyone working together, making sure this benefits everyone involved.
Couldn't agree more. There are a lot of different pieces to make this work.
Yeah, it's complex.
Yeah.
But the thing that I find exciting is, well, how ambitious it is. Yeah. We're not talking about just tweaking things here and there. This is about completely changing how we think about investing in agriculture, about development itself, and using blockchain to do it, to make things more open, more fair, more sustainable.
Yeah. I mean, it really does feel like we could be on the edge of something big here.
I think so, yeah.
So as we wrap up here, I want to leave you with this. What if this actually happens? I mean, really think about it. Could your next investment be in, like, a piece of land, maybe in Senegal, growing these climate-friendly crops, all managed out in the open, and run by this global community? It's something to consider, right? And as this all plays out, we'll be here to break it all down for you.